guys, it's Robin, RsIslandCrafts, and welcome to my craft room. Long time no see, right? I think I showed you a video when we did the 20,000 subscriber video. I flipped the camera around so you guys can see me, so it hasn't been too long, right? Some of you remember when I did my Talk to Me Tuesdays this way. But I thought you might enjoy seeing a more face-to-face conversation versus my hands as the what's been happening in my life update every week has been getting longer and longer, that it might be better to do it this way. I think I'm going to crochet on this shawl while we're talking, if you guys don't mind, if I don't have constant direct eye-to-eye contact with you. If it bothers you and you feel like I'm ignoring you, just let me know and I won't do that next time. But I did want to show you this shawl before we get into everything. I want to show you a couple of the projects. First, it's hard to see, but I do have a quilt here. This quilt, whenever you're seeing me doing tutorials, and behind you guys, it's still a kind of a cluttered mess. I haven't cleaned it all up and organized it, and even if it were neat, it would still be shelving with storage and it's not pretty. So I've been taking a quilt and hanging it up back there so it blocks up all the clutter. This is the quilt that I've been putting up for May. I've only started doing that in April, so I thought in May I'd put up a new one, right? So this is this one. If you guys ever see a quilt hanging up back there that you would be interested in, these are mostly all for purchase. I would say that they're all available to purchase. I don't have any plans for any specific ones, but I'm just using these tops just to cover up areas. For now, there's always going to be another top that can cover up an area, right? And then let me show you the Santa. Let's see if we can see this red color any better at a distance. Oh yeah, that's much better. You can see how in the center here, okay, that's the white from his hat, but you could probably, I can see a little bit, you guys might be able to see it better, that there are some little light colors and dark colors. It does have an orange tint to the background of it. There's probably an orange in the base of the red, but this is a nice red color. It's a grungy Christmas, I would call it. Okay, this is, oh yeah, this is much better. This is what that granny striped shawl is looking like. I can't even reach the ends from fingertip to fingertip. As you can see, it drops down. And let me put it on my shoulders. This is meant to be definitely like the granny style where you wear it as an actual shawl. Some people do, I'll show you how some people do, but see how it comes down? You just put your fingers, I automatically put my fingers right through some of these holes just to hold it on there. So everything is like that. I don't have much space to show how it lays. I don't know what you guys can see back there, but there is how it looks on your back. You guys might be able to tell this is the front of my sewing machine, so normally I sit there. I'm sitting at the back of it now, so there's a set of drawers right here. I've got my chair back almost up there. It is all the way back to the wall, and my knees, that's how little space it is. My knees are actually touching the desk. But I thought it'd be good just to be able to do it this way. I'm not sure how else I could set it up in this room to make it work, so we'll do it this way so we can keep looking at the mini quilt wall. That, as I said, hasn't been updated, but that's okay. So I really liked the drape and the way this crocheted shawl sits and everything on the shoulders. I love the way it lays here. Oh, I want to show you how other people do it. So what they do is they take the triangle part and they zhoosh it around. So you put this so that it's extremely hot. This is 90-degree weather today, but they make it so that the point, this goes down the front, so when you put your jacket on, this covers up like a scarf. And then they do this thing where they tuck these ends under and they zhoosh it all up and make it all kinds of pretty. And this is what they do with this type of shawl. But for me, first of all, I'm in Florida and this is way too warm even on our coldest days. Down here in Southwest Florida, it still stays pretty warm. I mean, we get cold, of course, but it's still pretty warm in the winter. All I'm doing right now is getting tangled up and pulling stitches out. So, okay. I definitely prefer to wear it in the old-fashioned lady way, where you wrap it around your shoulders, and this is on the back of you. These are not my colors, but I really just love this colors. This does get a little bit warm to work on. You definitely want to have the AC on now during this type of weather, because this sits in your lap while you crochet on it. So what's been happening in my neck of the woods? So we are in phase 1 on reopening the state up. Everyone in each county, each town is doing things a little differently. I'm in Cape Coral. Nearby Fort Myers opened everything up a couple days earlier. Other counties opened their beaches up last week. Our beaches, they opened them up like on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday or something last week. Our beaches opened up on Friday, just in time for the weekend. But they're still telling people that the beaches are for exercise only. You are just to go there to walk along the beach, to see all the pretty things that you can see and enjoy what the beach offers, but you can't lay down in the sun and you can't lay out to get a tan. You can't be in large groups. They wanted you to stay in small groups still. I'm not sure how that's going to work, because the beach is really for swimming and for getting a suntan, right? Hanging out on the beach and stuff. So I don't know how well that's going to work. I'm not a beach gal. We used to go there a lot when I was a child because my parents would take us, so we didn't have a choice. I didn't go very often as an adult. We have a beach here in Cape Coral that is not open yet. They've decided to keep that closed. They've started to open up the parks for exercise, so you can ride your horse in the trails that are set for horses, and you can ride bikes, and you can do walks and stuff, but you can't go to like the playgrounds or anything like that, because there's no way they can keep those clean. So that makes perfect sense that you wouldn't be allowed to be in those areas. None of that interests me enough to leave my house to run into a bunch of people and to take any type of chances. So I'm sticking home doing my thing. And the thing right now has been yard work. I finished up thatching my backyard on Saturday morning, and then I went out and did my grocery shopping, and then I sat in my chair and I napped most of the day away. I have been so worn out from doing this work. And thatching is, everything's out in the garage. I didn't think to bring it in, but thatching, it's this metal rake, and it has these metal fingers like that go in the ground, and it goes down below like the grass level and everything, right to where the soil is, and it just digs up any of your dead grass, any dead debris or whatever like that. And if you go like this with it, right, and you just kind of rake, and you never pick it up off the ground. So when you pull it back to you, it's pulling up the debris, and when you're pushing it forward, it's taking it out of the little tines and the fingers of the rake. So you never have to, it's self-cleaning, you never have to clean it. So there's a lot of this motion, right? So then I'd switch over to my other hand and I'd go this way. And now I think they're not calluses, because I don't have any calluses or blisters, because I was smart enough to wear gloves ahead of time and stuff. But I feel like my right in here, in this part of my thumb, is bruised just from holding it and the round wooden handle constantly pushing down on that, and with this motion. So that's been very sore. Some of you who've been here for a while have heard me talk about, I've had 3 surgeries on my right shoulder, 1 surgery on my left shoulder. It's been to remove bone spurs and debridement, and I had some extra bone growing that they removed. I've had some minor tears in my rotator cuff and other issues in there. So this is a very weak spot for me. So all of this motion has been kind of sore. Plus I have the issues with my neck when I have nerve damage here, and I have bone spurs in my neck. I seem to grow bone spurs really, really well. I've had them in my feet and everything. So I was doing it for about an hour a day, and then I was using a half an hour to bag everything up. But then on Saturday, I was so close to being finished that I worked 3 hours, about 2.5 hours of the actual raking and a half hour of bagging everything up. And it just wore me out. But I just wanted to finish it, because I didn't want to just leave, like a 2-foot space. I was going from left to right in my yard. And even though I wanted to kind of go all around in a crazy pattern, I kept doing it right. Just going left to right, doing about 1 yard with each time until I got it all done. So that's all done. I have removed 20 bags of, it's like, some of you in Florida, you'll understand. Someone once told me that they called it bunny grass. Down here, they call it Florida snow. you have a spot where there's a root in the ground, and then it lets all these vines go everywhere, and they could be feet and feet long, like 10 or 12 feet long. I was explaining to someone, it's kind of like a net laying down on top of your yard. If you have your root spot right here, but if you go over here and you lift up these vines, there's nothing underneath there. It kills all the grass and everything, so there's just dirt underneath there, and you can kind of pick it up like a net. So you can remove that. So now this, because we're in such a drought right now, everything has died off. There are some spots where it's still green, like where there's new growth and stuff, but the old stuff is what I've been raking up, and it's just spread out everywhere. So it's like, it kind of reminds me of ramen noodles, like when they're all dry and kinky and curly and stuff and breakable, and they crunch when you touch them. Well, when you're walking through my backyard, you were like crunching on all of these dead vines. So I've got that all raked up, 20 bags. They're the black 40-pound bags for using, throwing away your yard waste and stuff like that. So I have that, and I have 2 full outside garbage cans that were just full of all this dead vine and debris and stuff. It was crazy the amount of stuff that came out of my backyard. I've taken some pictures, and I started a little video. I'm gonna see if I can put a picture up here just to show you a couple of the mounds that I raked up. Now there's still a ton because I was using a basic leaf rake, and it doesn't seem to be able to get all the little extra fine debris up. So while I still have dirt patches everywhere, and I have these little things I've been calling bonsai trees, I don't know what it is. I just downloaded an app to my phone that if you take a picture of a plant, it tells you what it is. So I want to see if it can tell me what this is. And it's just this little weird, it's like pulling a carrot out of the ground. The weeds, I pulled the weed, the root was like this long without exaggerating. It starts wide at the top and it goes down to a fine point at the bottom like a carrot, but of course it's a brown because it's a plant root, right? So you pull that out, but on the top of the ground there's just these little, less than a foot tall, maybe 6 or 8 inches, little bonsai trees. They have these thick branches that come out, they're very woody, and it has this little green, almost like pine, not pine needles, but like the pine trees from up north that I haven't seen in a million years, well, at least 20 or 30. So, but they had all of this on top. So it was really just a strange looking thing, and that's been taking over my yard. And then I also have crabgrass. So I've got to go through now, and I have a hoe, which is, if you guys don't garden, it's a long handle, wooden handle, and it's got a piece of metal that's kind of like square-like, but it's a little rounded on the top, and it's sharp on the end. So you take it and you hit it in the ground, and you can dig things up like this, right? And then I've got my shovel to go deep down and dig up other things. So I've got to go through, and I've got to pick up they have like a leaf rake, but it's got metal tines on it, so it's a metal leaf rake. So I need to pick up one of those. That tends to help bring up, because the plastic ones are a little more flexible, and I don't even, do they even make bamboo rakes anymore? We used to have those bamboo ones growing up. So I figured the metal one, from what I remember of my torturous teenage years of having to rake things up down here, that'll pick up the smaller things a little better than the plastic one will. So I have to do all of that. I've been recording little snippets of video. I haven't looked at it, so I don't know how good it is. I'm going to guess that it's not very good, and see if I can get that together just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like out there and what I'm doing. I've been snail hunting still. I'm done salting snails, mostly because I ran out of salt. I picked up at Aldi's 10 of those round plastic barrel-like containers of salt. They're only 40 cents each at Aldi's. They're 92 cents at Walmart, and they're $1 at the Dollar Tree. So of course Aldi's is the better bang for your bucks. So I'd gone through 10 of those, salting various places, mostly at the end for the crabgrass. Putting some salt on it kills it really quickly, but you gotta remember, you can use salt or vinegar to kill crabgrass, but it's gonna kill anything else too. So it's also gonna make, I'm guessing it's gonna make your dirt a little alkaline. I believe that's what salt will do. So it's going to mess up the pH balance a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit before I get grass down. I'm going to wait for rainy season. First I had to clear everything out, right? Then I'm going to wait for rainy season so I don't have to water it every day. I'll let the rain do it, and that's usually in July. So I'm going to order some seeds this week so that I have the grass seeds on hand, so when they tell me that we're getting a week's worth of rain, that I can go ahead and just get it all sprinkled down and do what you've got to. I have to read up on that. It's usually not much more than using the little container, and you can go like this. You have one you can push, but I've never had luck with those. That always puts out too much grass seed. You have this one, but I'm just going to do the bird seed method. I'm just going to sprinkle it like this after I get everything cleared out, because there's no sense putting grass seed down if you still have this invasive weeds that are going to kill your grass. Pick up something that's hardy for the heat of summer down here in Florida, that's meant for the Gulf Coast weather. So that's basically what I've been doing this past week. I've been going out an hour in the morning, well, an hour and a half. I take an hour to do the raking and then a half hour to clean it all up and just pile all the bags. You're not supposed to leave trash or anything like that on the side of the road. Like when we have trash day, you're supposed to put it out the morning of trash day, like a couple hours before your trash comes. You're not supposed to leave your garbage cans out all day long because it's distracting of the beauty of the area. We have a lot of codes here, a lot of rules and laws and stuff, and they can be annoying, but it's really for the good of the community, and it does keep everything looking nice. We don't have a lot of junk cars. We don't have a lot of trash on the side of the road. So there's just some little rules like that. But I've been leaving my black garbage bags out there all week because I'm not going to pile them on the side of my house and then bring them out there. They're not that unsightly. They're nice and clean. No, they're not ripped open or anything. Nobody's attacking them. There's no food in them, so the dogs and the birds and stuff are leaving it alone. Although I'm sure I have a few snails in those bags. I have lots of snail carcasses, snail shells, just all over the yard. So I want to try to get those raked up too. They're not going to come back alive. I'm not worried about that, but I just want to get it cleaned up so that as the grass is growing and I start walking on it, I don't have to worry about stepping on a snail shell anywhere. I know in advance that this is not going to be the end of my snail saga. I'm hoping that if I keep all of the debris and stuff like that, any of the leaves that fall off of the orange tree, I'm going to have to rake them up. I'm not going to be able to leave grass clippings when I do get to mow. I'm going to have to rake them up and put them into for horticultural pickup every week. It's just going to be a case like that where I can't leave any things that the snails enjoy. So there'll be no breeding grounds for them in my yard, but they're always going to be here because of my neighbor's yard. Now I have the one lady on this side. When you're looking at my house, it's on the left-hand side. She's an older woman. She just goes to work. She comes home. She takes care of her dog. She has a wooden fence up. For what I know in her yard, she doesn't really have much in there, so I don't see anything coming that way. My biggest problem with her is I have to do something. I have to constantly pull weeds out and stuff along the fence, and that's just because the fence is there and that's how it's growing. There's got to be something growing on her side too, and it's just coming through the fence and, you know, in between all the boards and stuff. But my neighbor, when you're looking at my house on the right-hand side, the one that has a chain link fence, she has a bunch of, they're probably about 6 or 7 foot tall palm trees. So they have what you would picture as a palm tree. They have the branch with all the little palm finger leaves and stuff coming off of it. Well, when she trims them, she's been taking them and just dumping them over her back fence. I didn't realize this because I don't go looking around. I mean, maybe if I'm in my backyard, I can see her house and I'll see what's there, you know, like I see the palm trees and stuff, and I see that when the palm branches and fronds and stuff fall down, she just leaves them on the ground. So it's a very moist environment because she has sprinklers through there, that the snails are just living in there, so that's perfect for them. So they're crawling. I can see them on a rainy day. They just crawl through the fence into my little garden area there. So there's lots of them that come from there. Plus, as I said, she just dumps them over the back chain link fence. I happened to be outside the other day and I was looking at something and I saw the snails coming through. So I was at the corner of the chain link fence and I saw a bunch of snails coming along the back field area. So I kind of went like this and I about had a heart attack. It's got to be about this deep of just decaying palm fronds. So they're just living in this stuff. The snails are just loving it. So she's providing all this food. So I'm hoping if she keeps providing the food, because she's obviously not going to clean it up. We do have an ordinance against it. It is against our codes and our law to have it be thrown into the field like that. I don't know if our code enforcement is actually working right now, but I'm sure that's something they're going to notice really soon, and that she will have to clean that up, because it's also right there where the burrowing owls are living. So that's another area. They're a protected species, so you can't be leaving yard debris all around where they're nesting and stuff. So as I said, I'm hoping either that she gets it cleaned up, or that her yard is much more appealing than mine and that they stay over there. I will keep doing my daily morning routine where I go out with my little bowl of soapy water and I go ahead and scoop up all the snails, and they don't survive. I have in my big trash can that the city provides us, I keep some water in the bottom and I keep all around the inside a layer of soap. So even though the sun dries it out, if the snails are crawling up there, they cannot crawl up a soap ring. It's too slippery for them. And like I said, even as it dries up, the garbage can's out there for a week. We only have weekly pickup. I have seen that the snails cannot crawl out of, either they're drowning in the water, they're drowning in the bucket of soapy water before I ever dump them in the trash. But I check the garbage can every day to make sure they're not climbing out of there. And if any of them do make it, they unfortunately have to go back in. Okay, that's the halfway point. So now my plans, as I said, I'm gonna have to do all that extra work. Yarn, get your nose all kind of tickly, but I'm gonna give myself a week off from doing that. My body is really sore. I'm not supposed to be doing things like this. If I do it in small amounts, it's not too bad. It's starting to ease up. I've been doing all the things I'm supposed to. I have a TENS unit that I put on that kind of takes down the inflammation. I put this blue gel on that helps it, and I take my medications and stuff. So while things are sore, they're bearable today. I spent Sunday just relaxing, taking it easy, watching YouTube on the big TV. So now I think this week what I'm gonna do is, because we are in this drought situation and we're not getting much rain, I don't want to use my hose to constantly water a lot of places. So I have let the part of my flower bed back by the chain link fence is getting watered by my neighbor's sprinklers. So half of it's thriving and half of it's wilting away. And I've had to go ahead and make that sacrifice because a lot of people, their well systems are drying up right now. And it's very expensive to have to dig a deeper well to drop your pump down deeper. Now my pump's been dropped down twice. And if I remember correctly, when my pump died about 5 years ago, the guy said, okay, since we're already here, let's go ahead and drop your well down. I don't remember how much he said, maybe another 10, 20 feet or something. 20 feet seems about right. That he went ahead and dropped my pump down further so I wouldn't have a problem. But I don't want to tempt fate here. We don't have city water yet. They've finished all the stuff and we're to the point where we're getting ready to be hooked up to it, where we have to hire someone to come in and hook it up from the road to our house. But with this whole closing down of everything, all that stuff is shut down and on hold for right now. So I don't know when we're going to get city water. So I'm not going to take any chances. I have been watering the flowers in the front. And basically when I'm doing dishes, it's only me. I use some paper plates throughout the day, so I do dishes once a night. And while I'm running the water for it to get hot, I put what I call a Kool-Aid pitcher, because that's what we made the Kool-Aid in for the kids when they're little. I put a 2-quart pitcher underneath the faucet, and as it's running the cold water, I found it on the hot side, of course. As I'm waiting for the cold water to get past, I have a couple pitchers that I just alternate and I fill them up, and I have them as they're going. So when the water starts to get warm, then I just plug the sink up. So then I take my pitchers of what would be considered wasted water that would just go down the drain, and I take it out front and I use that water to water my flowers. Or I should say out front, because they're behind you. So technically I am also watering the weeds there. So I'm sometime this week I need to get out there and start pulling some of the weeds out and just stop feeding the weeds so that my flowers can get all the benefits of all that extra water. So that shouldn't be too bad. That's more of a problem of kneeling down and using the muscles like on the back of your legs than it is of this motion. I have a hard time. I can't use like a rotary cutter a lot, pushing down like this. It's very painful and causes problems with the shoulders. So of course this and actually using it to put a lot of pressure and raking, so that becomes an issue. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give myself a week off, and then I'll get out there and I'll start digging up the rest of it. The people working on the pool house behind me, they've been doing a lot of work on the pool. I'm sure they think I'm crazy when I'm out there. I have this blue bowl, nice plasticky bright blue bowl that I hold in one hand, soapy water in it. I don't know if they can see that. Then I've got my plastic glove on and I'm walking around like this and I'm bending down constantly and picking things up out of the grass and putting it in this bowl. They must think I'm crazy. I am a little crazy, but either spend a lot of money on poison that's going to be dangerous for everything that's living, the birds, the bunnies, the random cat that comes through and things like that, and my black snake that comes out through the yard. I don't want to poison any of those creatures. Plus, the neighbor on this side with the chain link fence, her dogs run loose a lot and they're in my yard. I don't want to poison the neighbor's dogs. I don't want to poison the bunny rabbits or the birds or anything like that. Now that debris pile is creating a problem with rats. If I happen to have poisoned a few rats, that wouldn't have hurt my feelings. But that's why I'm going the route with the salt. I need to kill off the weeds in my yard and the crabgrass anyways. So salting all those snails didn't hurt anything. I got rid of almost all of them. Right now it seems to be just the babies that are coming up, so I'm picking those up. So pretty much that's just a lot of chatter to say I've been working in the yard a lot. Now I've heard from several of you, you guys are also working in your gardens and you're getting those all cleaned up and you're planting stuff and getting your fruits and veggies and your flowers and stuff all planted, and that's exciting. I love seeing pictures of everyone's gardens and stuff. You can either tag me on Instagram, or you can go ahead, if you're part of Flickr, I do have that group set up for Flickr. It's linked down below in the description. You can always add your pictures there, or you can just send them to me in an email if you want to show me what you've been working on. I don't do anything exciting. It's summertime's coming anyways. I'm going to be staying in the house a lot. But I do enjoy just having the flowers. And I recently learned about solar bird baths. How did I miss solar bird baths? We always had bird baths when I was younger. It's kind of hard down here. You can't have standing water because of the mosquitoes. They'll eat you alive. But if you have a solar bird bath, then that water is always moving. So that's something I'm going to look into. You can pick them up on Amazon, but I kind of like to see the bird baths themselves first. Then I can just pick up the kit if I want. But that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this little separate video. Let me know down in the comments. I will do it again next week. And I will keep doing it until you guys say enough. You don't want to hear about it anymore. And if you don't mind me looking down and crocheting occasionally, I will pull out different projects to work on. Because while we're sitting here, I may as well get something done, right? Doing this chitty chatty stuff. All right, guys, be safe. Take care of yourselves. And if your towns and cities are opened up, just be careful. Just because everyone is being opened up, like our restaurants are 25% seating now on the inside, doesn't mean you have to run out and do everything. Unless you're really, if you're careful about it and you're cautious, then it's perfectly fine. Me, I don't have an interest in going to restaurants. I can't eat at half of them anyway, so I'm just going to stay home. Bye, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.